Welcome back. All right, so a lot of extra time tonight. So hockey players playing like they get paid by the hour. They don't. But at any rate, yeah, more than half the games tonight went to extra time. This was very close. In fact, all four of these games were tied with 5 minutes left. And I thought, all right, we have a very evenly matched league right now. That being said, starting things off, Florida and Boston. So it's Bobrovsky versus Ullmark in this one. An early Bennett shot gets held. The Panthers press at 2.5 minutes. Shots are 3 apiece at 4 minutes. So, pretty wide open start for a Boston game. That's usually not good for Boston. Verhaeghe has a shot that's held, and at 6:12, Florida gets on the board. So it's Barkov from Reinhart and Mikkola. It's just inside the post, and there you go. 1-0 Florida. Panthers press for another. McAvoy is a net feed. That's held. We get a power play for Florida. That's killed off. The shots are 13-6 for Florida with 7 minutes left. Boston would not get a goal or a shot the rest of the way. Reinhardt scores from Barkov at 15:08. And it's the speed. It's Florida's speed. They're utilizing their speed early in this game, and Boston doesn't have an answer. Bruins press to close it out. And so after the first period, it's 2-0 Florida. Second period, Bruins press at a minute and a half. Eventually, they get on the board. It's Marchand. Tips it in front. DeBrusk and Coyle with the assists at 3:38, making it 2-1. Shots on net are 3-0 for the Bruins at 4 minutes. We then get a power play for Florida. Rodriguez has a shot that's saved. That's cleared out. Bennett gets hurt. He exits. Zaka has a rush chance. That's held. Power play's killed off. And then we get a power play for Boston. Things get pushy when Kulikov covers the puck in front of his own net. But the Panthers kill that off. Verhaeghe fires one wide on a rush. Rodriguez is denied and close. And Lomberg fires one wide on a rush near the end of the period. So after 2 periods of play, it's 2-1 in favor of the Panthers. Third period. 5 minutes in, there was one shot. That was Florida's. So, yeah, there wasn't much room for either team. But then at 7:20, McAvoy scores from Pastrnak and Zaka. That ties it at 2. We then get a power play for Florida. It's a 5-minute as McAvoy is assessed a 5 and a 10, so he gets the game misconduct. I would imagine Department of Player Safety will call him. I will imagine that there's a suspension involved. I'll see a couple of games on that one. We'll find out. Tkachuk then has a blast that's held. They do kill it off, but it's Ullmark that kills it off. It really, I want to give credit to their penalty kill, but it's Ullmark. And so we go to overtime. In the overtime, Panthers control early. Marchand then steals it. Luostarinen fires one wide, and then Zaka grabs the puck, and he goes end-to-end. And at 3:35, he scores in overtime. And so, in the improbable comeback by Boston, they win in overtime 3-2. They go 8-0-1 on the season, and Florida 4-3-1. 0-8-1, that's for San Jose only. But 4-3-1 is Florida's record now with that overtime loss. So the shots on net, 16-6 Florida in the first, 14-9 Boston in the second, 12-4 Florida in the third. Boston had both shots in the overtime, including the one that matters. Final shots 37-26 for Florida. Power plays 0 for 3 for the Panthers, 0 for 1 for Boston. The hits 21-18 in favor of the Florida Panthers. Bobrovsky saves 23 out of 26. Ullmark was excellent, 35 saves on 37 shots. So, yeah, Ullmark continues to be one of the most remarkable goalies, if not the most remarkable goalie in the league. All right, next up. Carolina and Philadelphia. Yep, it says gritty. I don't care. I wasn't going to cut the gritty off the bottom. I thought, I'll leave that there. So don't be surprised when the bigger versions of that show up on the board at some point. So it's Anderson versus Hart. In this one, the shots are 2-0 for the Canes at 2.5 minutes. Hathaway's denied on a fast break. And then Nason buries one 5-hole from in close. Svechnikov and Orlov with the assists at 3 minutes and 11 seconds. So it is 1-0 for Carolina at that point. Konechny is denied a response opportunity. We then get a power play for the Flyers. That's killed off. The shots are 5-3 Carolina at 8 minutes. Zamula breaks up a 2-on-1 by Carolina. Canes press at the half. We have a long stretch without a Flyer shot. And then they get a shot and it goes in the net. It's Tippett from Couturier at 15:09. He buries it short side on a rush opportunity. Cates then tips one wide on a rush. And then it's Hathaway. So they score on 2 out of 3 shots here. Hathaway from Delorier and Lawton at 18:23. So suddenly it's 2-1 Philadelphia. And the Flyers look for another before the period's out. So they're up 2-1. They got some momentum. We're going second period. Tippett has a wrapper on the misses. Philly had the early edge. They end up with a power play. That's killed off. And then Carolina gets a power play and they score on it. It's Bunting from Nason and Kotkaniemi at 9:02, so that's right on a face-off win. So Kotkaniemi stays at a point per game, and he wasn't done producing for the night. The shots are 6-2 in favor of Carolina halfway through the period. Power play for the Flyers, that's killed off. Some good forechecking by the Canes. That can help you get some pressure, and they do press with 4 minutes left. With 2:21 left, the Flyers get a power play. Couturier has an opportunity that's held. That's killed off. We're going to the third period with the score tied at 2. Shots are 2-0 Flyers at 3 minutes. Walker's then denied and close. The Flyers press at 5 minutes. We get a power play for Philly. That's killed off. The Flyers press at 9.5 minutes. Forrester's denied. The Canes clear. There's a hit on Drury that draws a crowd. And at 16-13, Carolina gets the lead. Teravainen stays red hot from Kotkaniemi and Slavin. He wires that one from the slot. With that assist, I think now Slavin leads in franchise history for assists. I think he passes Dave Babbage with that one. So the Canes press for another, and it's a pretty strong shutdown period by Carolina overall, although the shots would tell you it wasn't. I thought they played really well with the lead. Final score is 3-2 for Carolina. They go to 6-4, so that's 3 wins in a row. For Philly, 2 losses in a row. I'm sorry, Flyers fans. I didn't know. 4-4-1. I won't do it next year, I promise. But 4-4-1 is the record now for Philly. Shots on net favor Carolina, 12-7 in the first, 11-9 in the second, and then they favor Philly, 12-10 in the third. Final shots, 33-28 for Carolina. Power plays, the Canes scored on the only power play they had. Philly had 5. Did not score once, and that's really the difference here. Hits, 19-11 Philadelphia. Anderson saves 26 out of 28. Carter Hart was very good, 30 saves on 33 shots. So pretty good goaltending matchup, and in the end, Carolina gets the victory. All right, next up, Anaheim. The Ducks in against Pittsburgh. And it's not very often that I exclaim towards the end of a game. I exclaim towards the end of this one. So it's Gibson versus Jarry. There's an early press by the Pens. They end up getting a power play to those Penguins, and they score on it at 2:55. It's Carlson from Malkin and Riley Smith. So Pittsburgh's up early. They look good, and yeah, they should, because after the embarrassing loss they had against Ottawa, they had to bounce back. So we wired that one past the screen, and then we get a power play for the Ducks. There's a near miss by Terry. They cycle it. It ends up being killed off. And then Silverberg buries a loose puck at 8:28. Lyubushkin and Minchikov with the assists. It's suddenly tied at 1. Rust is denied on a rush. Zegras has a one-timer. That's held. Penguins press with 3 minutes left with 1:23 left. The Penguins get a power play, and they almost get a goal before the buzzer, but they don't. So we go to the second period. And Dostal's in due to an injury. So it looked like Gibson had pulled something at the end of the first period. He was clearly in distress, so Dostal takes over, and the Ducks finish off the kill. Then there's a press by the Penguins after. Zegras has a net drive, that's saved. We get a power play for Pittsburgh, and that's killed off. Penguins press after it's done. Merkel fires one wide. The Ducks clear. Things get shovey on a neutral zone whistle. It's amazing how quickly these games get kind of contentious. So power play for the Ducks. The Penguins clear early, but eventually it's Frank Vatrano. 9 goals in 9 games. Man, that's amazing. Fowler and McTavish with the assist. That's 11:51. Letang has a blast that's held. Dostal pretty solid in relief here. Strome's denied on a 3-on-1. The Ducks press with 4.5 minutes left. The Ducks score. There's a goalie interference challenge, and it works, so it's no goal. And then, so that means a power play for the Penguins results, because the goalie interference challenge, which was to get the goal to count, doesn't work. So with 1:40 left, it's a power play. Now, Greg Cronin greatly disagrees with that call. So the referee hears some stuff and says, you know what? I'm going to give the coach penalty too. So we have 2 minutes of 5-on-3. And this to me is kind of sort of the game. So 5-on-3, the Penguins score. It's Malkin from Carlson and Crosby at 19:35, and it's a one-timer. So it's a full 2 minutes of 5-on-3. But to start the third period, the Ducks killed the 5-on-4. And a little bit of attitude there from Anaheim too. McTavish fires one wide out of the box. And then at 1:25, Zahorna, he scores from O'Connor and Eller. So all of a sudden, Pittsburgh have a 3-2 lead. And again, the Ducks clearly take that personally, because at 3:01, McTavish scores from Strome and Minchikov. So Minchikov is putting some points on the board. That was the second assist of the game. Penguins look to answer. There's a press by the Pens at 8 minutes. Zegras is denied on a 3-on-2. And then with 4:16 left, there's a power play. for the Ducks. Then it becomes 3 seconds of 4-on-4, and then the Penguins end up with another 5-on-3. So again, the Ducks, unlike the Canucks the other night, that second 5-on-3, they learn. They learn, and so what happens is, as the 5-on-3 comes to an end, the puck ends up at center ice. McTavish out of the box grabs it. He scores what is essentially a shorthanded goal out of the box. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. He scores that from Henrique at 1949 and absolutely silences the crowd. A crowd that was pretty excited and pretty sure that Pittsburgh was going to win this game with a 5-on-3 power play to close it out. But yeah, on a break out of the box, McTavish makes it 4-3, and Anaheim holds on. They win again. This is 4 in a row. They go to 5-4 on the season, and Pittsburgh shockingly drops to 3-6 record. Put 3-5-1, but it's 3-6 on the season, correct? Yeah, it's 3-6. Everything was in overtime tonight, so I just kind of got a little overtime heavy. So, yeah, their record's worse than what it looked like. I apologize, Pittsburgh fans everywhere. All right, but it was an exciting game. Anaheim outshoots them in the first period 8-7. Pittsburgh outshoots them the rest of the way 18-10 in the second, 17-9 in the third. Final shots 42-27 Pittsburgh. Power plays, Anaheim 1 for 3, Pittsburgh 2 for 7. Hits 16-10 for Anaheim. Gibson saves 6 out of 7. Dostal was excellent in relief, 33 saves on 35 shots. And Jari saves 23 out of 27. So very entertaining game unless you're a Penguins fan. Next up, Seattle in against the Tampa Bay Lightning. So Tampa Bay coming off of, I think their last game was that shootout or shutout win over San Jose, right? So it's Grubauer versus Johansson, who is coming off of back-to-back shutouts. Early press by Tampa. There's a near miss by Point. It's cleared out. The shots on net, though, are 2-1 Seattle 5 minutes in. Hedman has a shot that's held. They had a nice welcome back for Belmar. I thought that was nice to see. Kraken press. They're kept to the outside. Seattle has some momentum. They're denied. The shots at the half are 8-4 in favor of Seattle. And then Dumoulin scores. He gets a goal from Schultz and Schwartz at 12:06. The Kraken then look for another, and they would eventually get it at 13:07. So 1 minute and 1 second later, Yamamoto with a fantastic pass. Gord finishes it, and so it's 2-0 Seattle. But 30 seconds later, Tampa Bay answers. It's Tanner Jeannot from Fleury and Radish. So long drought in shots for Tampa Bay, but that one directs in, and there you go. Power play then for Seattle, and they score on it at 15:52. It's Yamamoto, so a goal and an assist for Kyler Yamamoto tonight. Schwartz and Tolvanen with the assists. It's 3-1. Tampa would press in the final minute, but yeah, it is 3-1. Second period. Bolts press at 2 minutes. Tampa Bay draws a power play. Stamkos has a blast that's held, and then they score on the power play. It's Barré-Boulet from Hagel and Jeannot at 3:38. All Barré-Boulet does is score goals and assists. That's it. And he'll get sent down to the minors as soon as they're healthy. So puck bounce to him and he buries it, does what he does. He's just around the goal, right? Shots are 7-4 Tampa at 7.5 minutes. Tampa presses at 9.5 minutes. But they're blocked to the outside mostly by Seattle during that. Gord has a shot that deflects wide. They press. We then get a power play for Seattle. Beniers has a chance that's held. That power play's killed off. Then we get a power play for Tampa after that, and Seattle kills that off as well. So after 2 periods, it's 3-2 for Seattle, but you knew Tampa Bay was going to push in the third, and they did. Bolts press at 2.5 minutes. The shots are 2-1 in their favor 4 minutes into the period. The teams exchange rushes. More Tampa Bay pressure with 9 minutes left. Schwartz clears, and just to get a line change in. They'd been pinned down for a while. There's a net feed by Schwartz that gets picked off, and then one pinballs in to tie it. It's a goal credited to Hagel. Sorelli and Barré-Boulet with the assists of 14:32. There's Barré-Boulet again. Bolts press for the lead, and then there's a goal line stand on Jeannot to prevent that from going in. Hits the post, sits next to it, does not go into the net. And so we're going to overtime, because that's what tonight's games did. In the overtime, Schwartz is denied early. There's a shoulder save on Yanni Gord. Point has a chance that's held. And then the Kraken get a power play. They also call a timeout before that power play. Whatever they discussed works. At 2:33, McCann gets the game winner. Dunn and Bjorkstrand with the assists. So Seattle goes in and beats Tampa Bay in overtime. 4-3. They go to 3-5-2. This is Tampa Bay's third loss, 3-on-3. Technically, this was a 4-on-3 power play. So I guess they'll practice that too. 4-2-3 record now for Tampa Bay. Shots on net, 20-9 Seattle in the first, 15-13 Tampa Bay in the second, 13-5 Tampa Bay in the third. Seattle had 5 shots in the overtime. Tampa Bay had none. Final shots 43-37 for Seattle. Power plays, the Kraken go 2 for 3. Tampa Bay goes 1 for 2. The hits 17-14 Seattle. Grubauer, good night for him. 34 saves on 37 shots. Johansson was good too. 39 saves on 43 shots. Not too shabby. All right, last game on this board, Detroit and the New York Islanders. This was very unpredictable. Now, what wasn't predictable was the way the first 2 periods went. The third period just threw all that out the window. So it's Husso versus Sorokin. Pulock to Barzal gets picked off. The Islanders press at 3.5 minutes. The shots are only 2-1 for the Islanders 6 minutes in. It's an Islanders game that's going pretty quick. Perron was unable to bury one in close. Nelson gets denied as the Islanders press. Larkin has a wraparound that's blocked. Barzal's robbed in close. Rasmussen was denied as the Wings get a rush chance. And then Barzal getting some prime chances in that first period. I just wanted to put that up there because, yeah, Barzal all around it, but it's scoreless after 1. Second period, Pajot's denied on a net drive. The Islanders press at 2 minutes. Clutterbuck's denied in close, and yet the shots are only 1 apiece at 3.5 minutes. So, shot detection. Wings press at 6.5 minutes, but they're kept to the outside. Horvat then has a rush chance that's defended, does not get to the net. Pulock has a chance that's held, both teams defending well and keeping the other team to the outside. This period, though, went much slower than the first. Wasn't a very Islanders-like feel to that second period for how long it dragged on. And by dragged on, I just mean it went the length of a normal period of hockey. So Pulock has a chance that's held. Okay, power play for the Islanders. That was killed off. There's a net feed to Raymond. Near miss there. Sprong has a net feed. That gets picked off. Compher has a shot that deflects wide. Sorokin holds as the Wings are pressuring to try to get that first goal. Power play for Detroit. It then becomes 37 seconds of 5-on-3. We're seeing a lot of 5-on-3s early in the season here. DeBrincat gets denied. That power play ends up being killed off. Perron hurts. He exits. Pretty sure he came back into the game. The Islanders have a 2-on-1 that's broken up, and then with 2:36 left, the Wings get a power play. That leads to a shorthanded goal by the Islanders. It's Cizikas from Horvat at 18:39, and then most importantly, the Islanders finish the kill. So they have a shorthanded goal. They have Sorokin working on pitching a shutout. Things are going all the Islanders' way. Third period, 1:05 in, Nelson deflects one, and it's through a screen as well, so no chance on that one for Husso. Dobson and Engvall with the assists makes it 2-0. Palmieri then has a shot that's blocked, and 5.5 minutes in, the shots are 3-1 for the Islanders. This one should be home and cooled, right? But Sprong wires one on a zone entry. Rasmussen and Wallman get the assists at 7:55. The teams then exchange rushes, and at 9:35, it's Wallman who had a really good game going. So he's rewarded for his good game with a goal and an assist. Seider and Raymond end up getting the assists on that. So that one was through a screen as well, and the Islanders call a timeout. Whatever they discussed doesn't really work. Compher buries one from the side of the net at 11:43. Suddenly, Detroit has a lead in this game. It is now 3-2 in favor of Detroit. Barzal has a blast that's held. There's a power play then for the Islanders, and they score on it to tie the game. It's Horvat. They have started employing Horvat exactly where you need to, and it started to net results. Horvat from Barzal and Dobson at 15:49, so we're going to overtime. In the overtime, Wings control early. Barzal has a shot that's held afterwards. DeBrincat gets robbed, and then Raymond ends up ending the game from Compher at 1:25. It was an exciting overtime, as brief as it was. Detroit wins 4-3. They go to 6-3-1 with the win. The Islanders 4-2-2 with the overtime loss. Shots on net, 12-10 Detroit in the first, 17-15 Islanders in the second, 12-7 Islanders in the third, 2-1 Detroit in the overtime. 40-36 for the Islanders are your final shots. That's not very Islander-like totals. Power plays 0-2 for Detroit, 1-2 for the Islanders. Hits 13-8 for the Islanders. Husso saves 37 out of 40. Sorokin saves 32 out of 36. And now I need to change boards. All right, yeah, for another game that had overtime. Well, there are 2 of them on this board. There were 3 of them on the other board, so yeah, it's 5 tonight. All right, so Winnipeg at home against the Rangers. Shesterkin versus Hellebuck. Early jump for New York, and I think the Rangers have earned themselves a video. I do. So the Jets are having turnover issues. Lafreniere gets denied. The shots are 3-1 for the Rangers, 3.5 minutes in. So Bendejet has a net feed. That's picked off. Niederreiter has a shot that's held as the Jets press. The Jets would press again halfway through the period. Ehlers has a shot that's held. Good shift for the Jets there on that one. More pressure by the Jets with 6 minutes left. Kakko then misses one wide on a fast break, and then it's Panarin that breaks the goose egg. He's really hot on this road trip. He scores from Trouba and Miller at 18:24. And then a little over a minute later, Winnipeg, to their credit, they answer. It's Gustafsson from Perfetti. So Gustafsson's, 4 years between goals, and now is it even a week since his last goal? Perfetti with the assist. My nose always gets itchy for a video, and I have no idea why. Doesn't bother me the rest of the day. So it's 1-1 after one. Second period, there's an early press by the Jets. We end up getting a power play for New York. There's a post for Kreider. It's cleared out. Power play's killed off 4 shots on net. That Rangers power play's deadly. So the Rangers press after it ends. We then get a power play for the Jets. That's killed off. The shots on net are 5-2 for the Rangers, 6.5 minutes in. Jets need traffic at the net. Really, when they get shots, there's just no traffic, so you're not going to beat anywhere that way. Jets press. They're kept to the outside. Ehlers has a chance to deflect out. The Jets press again with 4 minutes left. We get a power play for Winnipeg. That's killed off. And the Jets press to close it out. So after 2 periods, it's still 1-1. But yeah, the Jets are playing really well. Third period, both teams defend well early. Path to the net wasn't easy. And then at 5:08, Ehlers with his 400th career point. Kudos to him for that. Perfetti and Scheifele with the assist on a goal that Ehlers gets buried from in close to the net. Jets then look to add to the lead. The shots are 3-1 in their favor at 6.5 minutes. We get a power play for New York. That's killed off, but they go back to the power play. So you just can't do that. Kreider would tip one in close to get his 4th power play goal already this year. Fox and Panarin with the assists at 13:12. Connor has a net drive that's blocked. And then with 18.8 seconds left, the Jets get a power play. So this one goes into overtime as well. Connor has a blast that's saved. Morrissey has a shot that's held. Shesterkin kills that power play. Absolutely. There's a near miss for Pionk. The Rangers rush, and eventually, on their first shot of the overtime, they get the goal. It's Zibanejad from Panarin and Miller at 4:34. So Mika took him a while to get his first goal, much less time to get his second. And so your final score is 3-2 in overtime for the Rangers. They go to 7-2 with the win. The Jets 4-3-2 with the overtime loss. Shots on net, 10 apiece in the first, 9 apiece in the second. 6-5 Rangers in the third, and then in the overtime, 5-1 Winnipeg. Final shots, 29-26 for the Jets. Power plays, 1 for 3 for the Rangers, 0 for 3 for the Jets. Hits, 24-11 for the Rangers. Shesterkin saves 27 out of 29, and Hellebuck saves 23 out of 26. I got to adjust this board. We were really courting disaster there. That could have been an absolute disaster. But yeah, Hellebuck, 23 saves on 26 shots. Doesn't really tell you. Hellebuck played a pretty good game. All right, next up. Dallas at home against Columbus. So this score and the shots, I don't think they accurately tell you. Dallas was brutal today in terms of in a good way. Like, I felt bad for Elvis. Almost every shot just seemed to be an absolute blast. So it's Merzlikins versus Ottinger, and it's the first time Dallas has worn the Rave jerseys this year, so good on them. And they score 27 seconds in. There you go. We're the Blacks more often. Harley scores from Robertson and Hintz. He buries that one on a 2-on-1. So the party starts early in Dallas. The Jackets, though, to their credit, they look for an answer. We get a power play for Columbus. That's killed off. Duchesne's then denied on a turnover, and then Voronkov. And it trickles in, right? But Voronkov gets his first NHL goal. Sillinger and Johnson with the assists at 4:37. And then the Jackets press for the lead at 6.5 minutes. The Stars get a power play. That's killed off. The Jackets press. The Stars block. The shots are 6-5 Columbus with 8 minutes left. Elvis was being heroic at this point on some prime chances for Dallas. Again, the shots they got, they made them count. Stars go back to the power play. It then becomes 1 minute and 40 seconds of 4-on-4. And during the 4-on-4, it's another one that just trickles through Ottinger and in. It's Severson from Fantilli at 13:41. That's Severson's first goal with the Blue Jackets. And then everything gets killed off there. So after the first period, it's 2-1 Columbus. Second period, early jump for Columbus. Then there's a post for Sagan. The Jackets clear. The Stars press at 3.5 minutes. Duchesne to Marchment gets picked off. And then Hintz tips one in during some good pressure by Dallas. Robertson and Lundqvist with the assists at 5:52. Columbus then presses to try to answer, but they're kept to the outside. The Stars score, but they're offside, so that goal does not count. Jackets press with 9.5 minutes left. Ottinger holds. There's a power play for Columbus. That's killed off. Marchment's denied on a net drive. The Stars press to close it, but after 2, it's a 2-2 tie. And all I could think with this one tied and that one tied, and I'm like, everything's going to overtime. All 9 games, everything's going to go to overtime. I really thought that was going to happen. So third period, Fantilli had a near miss as Columbus presses, and then at 2:49, Duchesne scores from Suter and Marchment. It's a face-off win, and Columbus never did get it out. They were tired, and it's a rebound that gets buried by Matt Duchene. He's on the board with Dallas. There you go. Stars press at 4 minutes. The Jackets press back at 5 minutes. Again, this is that fight back Columbus was showing tonight. The shots are 7-5 Columbus at 7 minutes. So they had a solid third period to that point. But the Stars draw themselves a power play. That's killed off. And then at 12:39, Werenski fails to clear it. Ends up with Johnston. Johnston gets it to Dodonov, who buries it. So that's your insurance goal there. Jackets press with 5 minutes left, but when they pull the goalie, that allows the empty netter, and Johnston hits the empty net from Dodonov and Bennett 16:21. Columbus would get that back, though. Corrali scores from Provorov and Olivier at 17:10. He buries a rebound. So they pull the goalie again. That leads to Foxa hitting the post, empty net. I think they said that was the 5th post Dallas hit tonight. So it could have been worse, but in the end, your final score is 5-3 for Dallas. They go to 5-1-1 with the win. Columbus 3-4-2 with the loss. Shots on net favor Dallas the whole way through. 9-7 in the first, 9-6 in the second, 15-12 in the third. Final shots are 33-25 Dallas, but seriously, almost every Dallas shot seemed to be like wired, and the fact Elvis saved as many as he did, remarkable. Both teams go for 3 on the power play. Hits 15-9 for Columbus overall. Merzlikins 28 saves on 32 shots, and Ottinger 22 saves on 25 shots. Did Daryl Ray say cromulent? A cromulent rebound? And I was like, cromulent? And I wanted to put up there, and I thought, nah, I don't know if cromulent's the right word there, but yeah. Every now and then Daryl Ray will throw a word out there, and you're like, I like, and I'll write it down, and I'll look at him and go, can I use that in a video? There are times where I've heard him say a word during a game, I'm like, can I use that in a video? It has to be organic, though. It can't be like, okay, I'm going to try to say this word. You know, when you have those calendars and you're trying to make somebody say the word of the day, that kind of thing. But you have to work it in organically. You can't just, spit out cromulent. So anyway, all right, next up, Chicago and Arizona. You're not going to hear that on SportsCenter. So Chicago and Arizona, really, you're not going to get all the magnets. What does SportsCenter have? Just graphics and highlights. Psh. All right, so Soderblom versus Ingram in this one. And honestly, early it looked like, hey, Chicago came to play. 28 seconds in, Bedard scores his 4th of the season. Korchinski and Jones wired it. Good cycle. First shot hits the net. There you go. Coyotes press for a response, and they would get it. Carconi from Cooley and Durzi at 2:23 buries a loose puck and close. I am so happy for Michael Carconi that he put in his dues in the AHL, and now he's getting his chance to show what he can do in the NHL. I'm glad that he got that opportunity from the Coyotes. So Jones has a shot that's kicked aside. The Hawks press. In fact, the shots are 5-4 Chicago 8 minutes in. There's a press by Chicago at 8.5 minutes, but eventually Arizona gets the lead. It's Josh Brown from McCain and O'Brien at 12:53. Buries a rebound and close. We then get a power play for the Coyotes, and they score on it. It's Carconi with his 2nd of the game. Krause and Bukestad with the assists at 15:55. And it was 5-hole on a cross-ice pass. So really, really solid play there, 3-1. Then we had a fight between Foligno and O'Brien. With 2:29 left, Arizona gets a power play. That was killed off, and the Hawks press to close. So it's 3-1 Arizona after the first period, and the next goal is key. So second period, good forechecking by the Coyotes. Radish has a rush chance, that saved. The shots are 3-2 in favor of Chicago, 3.5 minutes in. And at exactly 5 minutes, Carconi with a weird puck that goes over the net. It almost looked like Cooley touched it there, but it is Carconi's goal. Last time I checked, it still says Carconi. I don't think Cooley actually touches it before it goes over the line. But yeah, so one of the weirdest hat trick goals you're ever going to see that kind of just flies over the net and ends up in the net. Then there's a near miss by Hayden. Coyotes want more, and they get it. At 6:38, it's McBain from Kerfoot and O'Brien. So here we go. With O'Brien, of course, he had the fight in the first, and there's an assist. The shots are 8-4 Arizona at 7.5 minutes. We get a power play for Chicago. That's killed off. And then Durzi wires one from the slot. Just a one-timer. Carconi and Boyd with the assists at 11:18. So Carconi probably doubled his career points totals in the NHL tonight. So there's a power play for Arizona. That's killed off. And then O'Brien. He scores from McBain and Michelli. That's at 15:28. So O'Brien with a goal. O'Brien with an assist. O'Brien with a fight, which means Gordie Howe hat trick. So not long after, Tenorti has a fight with McBain. Well, McBain dropping the gloves means McBain had a goal, McBain had an assist, McBain had a fight. That is 2 Gordie Howe hat tricks by teammates in the same game. Just ridiculous. So the Coyotes press in the final minute. Probably pretty happy. They've got 2 Gordie Howe hat tricks on the same team, and they're up by a lot to 1 after 2. Third period, good flow early because it's a 6-goal difference. You just want to get the game done. Krause fires one high. It's cleared out. Krause does not get on the board tonight. Just couldn't get her done. Coyotes press at 4.5 minutes. Power play for the Hawks. That's killed off. We get 2 minutes of 4-on-4 after that. Krause has a slot shot deflect wide, and then McBain. He scores his 2nd goal of the game. Kerfoot with the assist at 10:37. So Kerfoot with 3 assists for his team tonight. At least they said it was 3 assists. Must have had one of the assists on the Corconi goal as well. At any rate, it's 8-1. So that happened. The Hawks press with 6 minutes left. With 2:11 left, the Coyotes get a power play. That is mercifully killed off. Your final score is 8-1. It's a no-mercy game for Arizona. They go to 4-4 on the season. The Hawks drop to 3-6 on the season. Shots on net, 11 apiece in the first, 15-9 Arizona in the second. Actually, 12-7 Chicago in the third. The shots are actually only 33-32 Arizona. Power plays, Chicago 0 for 2. Arizona 1 for 4. The hits, 25-15 Chicago. Soderblom, not his best night. 15 saves on 22 shots. Mrazek saved 10 out of 11 in relief. And Ingram saved 31 out of 32. And that's 31 in a row after allowing a goal on Chicago's first shot. So there you go. All right, last game of the night is Montreal and Vegas. And this is what I wanted to see. I wanted to see Montreal against a contender and see what they did. Very impressive game tonight by Montreal. So it's Montembeault versus Hill. Montembeault's 27th birthday. Happy birthday, Sam. So good early back and forth. The shots on net, though, are 5-1 Vegas, 2.5 minutes in. It does not stay that way. Harris is denied as the Habs press. Vegas presses at 9 minutes. The Habs doing a good job of getting in the lanes and not giving Vegas easy pucks and easy zone entries. Power play for Vegas. There's back-to-back clears by the Habs, but Cotter would end up getting the power play marker. Carlson and Pietrangelo with the assist at 15:06, and it deflected in through a screen. So after the first period, it's 1-0 in favor of Vegas. Second period, early power play for Vegas. It's killed off, and not only killed off, 0 shots on that power play for the Vegas Golden Knights. Shots are 3-0 Habs 4.5 minutes in, and Montreal ends up giving them another power play. During that power play, Monahan steals. Sean Monahan, I'm so happy he's having a good year for Montreal. He scores shorthanded at 5:38, and then the Habs finish the kill. So now it's a tie game, even though Vegas had another power play. We then get a power play for Montreal. Caulfield has a shot that's held. There was a shorthanded rush by Colasar. That's defended. He doesn't get to the net. That was killed off. Vegas rushes, and then Harvey Pinard almost gets one. Really close. Harvey Pinard due. It's going to happen. So then we get a power play for the Habs. That's killed off. There's a crossbar for Barbashev not long after. Habs press with 4 minutes left. The fans call one. The referee does not. The ref then does during that same play. So Vegas gets a power play anyways. Or they would have. So what happens is the ref's got his arm up. Vegas, free play, right? Goalie's out. It's a free play. It's just like when you know that they're going to get called, the defense is going to get called and you're a quarterback. So free play. If you don't get it, doesn't matter. So Carrier gets the goal during the delayed penalty from Stevenson and Eichel at 18:10 to give Vegas the lead after 2. And it's not a lead that I would say they necessarily deserved. And I say this because they only had 2 shots in the second period. That was it. Third period, early press by Montreal. Eichel to Marchessault ends up getting blocked. Net feed to Carlson was also blocked. Vegas presses. They're kept to the outside. Suzuki fires one wide from the slot. Vegas turning it over a little bit too much as far as I was concerned in that third period. Power play for the Habs. Newhook nearly scores, but that power play is killed off. Habs press at 8 minutes, and then a bit of a hit on Montembeault. It wasn't a really bad one, but you know it's going to get punchy after that. So Eichel goes to the box for goalie interference, and that's the right call. It's killed off despite some good chances for Montreal, and then Nick Suzuki, who was originally drafted by the Las Vegas Golden Knights, he scores from Caulfield and Barron at 15:42. It was a really good press by Montreal, and so they force overtime. In the overtime, Vegas controls early. Habs take over, try to set up. Eichel has a penalty shot. He's denied there. Gooley's denied at one end. Petrangelo's denied at the other. The goalies really stole the overtime. We end up going to a shootout. In round 4, Shea Theodore ends up scoring the winner. So Vegas wins this one 3-2 in a shootout. They go to 9-0-1 with the win. Montreal 5-2-2. Nothing to hang their heads about here. Just look at the shots. Vegas leads in shots 12-9 after the first. 10-2 Montreal in the second, 17-6 Montreal in the third. In the overtime, Vegas outshoots them 6-3. Final shots 39-26 Montreal. Power plays, the Habs 0 for 4, Vegas 1 for 3. The hits 23-20 for Vegas. Montembeault saves 24-26. Aiden Hill 37 saves on 39 shots. So some very entertaining hockey. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about whether or not you were entertained by the hockey. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.